Happy New Year and welcome to the Tommy Sandu podcast. Let's start with a confession. I did this. I finished off the slab of dairy milk. It's around. That's the problem. See, it's still in the house. If you're like anything like me, there's leftovers still kicking around. There's leftovers. I think there's still leftovers from Christmas Day kicking around in the house, like food. But that's like veg and stuff. And I don't know why I'm hanging on to it. Just hanging on to it. I'm hanging on to the veg thinking, I'll do something. And I'm not going to do anything. I made a subji. Yeah, proud of me. I made a mixed subji with like some of the mixed veg that hadn't been cooked. So like some people make it out of the actual leftovers. So they turn the Brussels into a subji. I didn't do that. I just had like a pack of gajar that we didn't use, carrots. I had a pack of potatoes that we didn't use. So use those. And then I think I put in some aubergine and some other bits and bobs and just did like a mixed veg subji. So I did that a few days ago. But that whole massive subji then is enough for like 10 people. That's still kicking around. I threw away the turkey and the bits and meats and stuff that were left over a few days ago. But the chocolate, there's still chocolate kicking around. And I was good, you know, for a good couple of months. I wasn't doing chocolate before Christmas. And then I caved a little bit. But anyway, new year, new start. Done with that now. So what am I here to say? I'm here doing this podcast on my own today. We're going to get our guests rolling throughout the next few days. You're going to start obviously seeing us back to normal, or me back to normal, chatting to people. But I just wanted to take some time out to talk on my own properly to you guys, because I realised something. I've been doing this Tommy Sandu podcast now for about 3 months, 2 to 3 months. And I've realised something. It's not for you. It's for me. Very much so, because I haven't done it for a couple of weeks over Christmas and New Year. And I've realised how much I need this. You see, for those who don't know, I used to be on the radio every day. And then that got taken away very quickly. Very wrongly as well, I feel. And when that got taken away, I was a mess. I'll tell you straight, I was a big mess. And I just didn't know what was going on. So, look, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it now because it feels like it's the right time to talk about it. When is the right time to talk about these things? I checked myself straight into counselling about a month after I lost my job. So in 2017, I lost my job. And late in 2017, I knew something wasn't right because I wasn't sleeping. And I'd be up all night. For anyone who's ever been awake all night, and I mean all night, where you maybe go to bed and your other half goes to bed, the kids go to bed, and you're just awake in bed, alone in your thoughts, just thinking about stuff, whatever the stuff that you're going through. That if you're that kind of person, replace. I've got friends, by the way, who aren't like that. They're like, they've got court cases and things like that going on, and big problems, money problems, and this. But they can just shrug it off, go to bed, wake up, carry on. They seem to be a lot more resilient than me. Not me. I was all over the place. So I was awake. I was analysing it. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about all the things that happened, all the things that I'd been accused of, all the things that I knew I hadn't done, or about myself. I put myself on trial. And not just for a little while, people. I put myself on trial for a good 2, maybe even 3 years. And I'm probably only just coming out of it in the last, say, 6 months. So that's a good 3.5 years. It's happened 4 years ago now. So a good 3.5 years of not feeling like myself. Which is what made me give up the booze 2 years ago. One of the main reasons was I was like, this ain't right. The booze is making things worse. I love being drunk. I want to say it for the record. I loved being drunk, having drinks, cocktails, shots, beers, wines. I just loved it. I loved it all. And I was a happy drunk. And it was never any problem. I never abused alcohol or took it to crazy limits. But I just realized it wasn't working for me because my headspace had changed. And this is really, I suppose, one of the things I wanted to talk about today, because people are going to be talking about New Year's resolutions and what they want to do for the year ahead and where their life's going. And I just wanted to say, if you're setting New Year's resolutions, and some people are, going to be critical about it. They're going to be like, New Year's resolutions don't work. I think they do work. I think they can work because we all need an excuse to kickstart something new. And, the new month, the new week, the new day, the new year is just it's a way of just, I suppose, putting that to a narrative, framing that to something where you can kind of go, oh, look at that. I did that from January. So it was on January the 10th, 2020 that I had my last drink. And I just realized it wasn't working. I had a brandy. Remember, it was cold. I was going to the cinema. I had a brandy. I thought, oh, this will warm me up. And as soon as I had it, I was like, this just made me feel worse. And the hangovers were worse. And the hangover was making me analyze my job loss even more and the unfairness of it and how I ended up in that situation. Because all I kept replaying in my mind was, yeah, but I didn't say anything. Yeah, but I didn't say anything. And I was saying it again and again and again like a madman. It was going round and round and round. Yeah, but I didn't say anything. Yeah, but I wouldn't say those things. I don't know, how have I been associated with it? But, the people that are kind of, I suppose, accused me of it or pinned that on me, I don't even think they believe it, if I'm really honest. But what I'll say is, this year, I'm hoping to put all of that to bed. I've had the counselling. It's still ongoing, to be honest. Someone to talk to about it. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Well, I know it's not a bad thing. But I suppose I'm saying it now is because I've been embarrassed to talk about it for the last couple of years because I've met a lot of people along the way who all say the same thing, who go, oh, when I tell them, it really affected me. It really affected me. Like I couldn't get out of bed. I used to come home from the school run and just lie down on the kitchen floor. And that's the truth. I used to just lie here on this floor behind me for 20 minutes, half an hour. And then get up, then go back up to bed, and then lie there all day. And then you'd sleep all day because you'd been up all night. And then again, you wouldn't sleep at night again. So I suppose, I'm not out of the woods of it at all. So this isn't like one of those motivational speeches because I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy who's got the knowledge or the ability to do that. But I just want to say, whatever it is, if you're going through it, it's for probably people like you and people like me that I started this podcast because I realized I'm a talker, right? And I know it's not very typical of Asian men particularly, or any men, I should say, to kind of openly talk about their feelings. And it's funny because since I've given up booze, I've noticed that more so. I've noticed that guys will have a couple of drinks and then they'll chat. Whereas I would chat a lot anyway, as you know, anyone who knows me from radio days or anything else I do, I'm a talker. So, and I like to communicate. I'm quite open about how I feel about things. But I suppose I wasn't very open for the last 2, 3, 4 years because I felt that everybody expected me to be upbeat. Everything's gonna be fine because it's Tommy. He's gonna be fine. And I had a friend who I had not seen for a few years who came around. She's a builder, painter, decorator. He's gonna sort out my proper podcast studio front room, paint the room up, and I want to do it all proper this year. And he went, and I told him it was bad. I told him it got really bad for quite a long time. And he goes, mate, you can tell he's from Essex, mate. I just thought you were like, you just brush it off in the Tommy Sandu way. And I've met other people who I won't name, people in the business who I've met and bumped into other presenters that I used to work with. And they've just kind of patted me on the back and they've kind of gone, yeah, you'll be all right. You're Tom, innit? You'll be all right. And it's that, I think that exists for a lot of men. It's that, bruv, you'll be all right. Oh, geezer, you'll be okay. And you kind of, in front of the blokes and lads and maybe even, women and people and aunts and uncles and whoever else, anybody else in the family, you'll just kind of go, yeah, no, I'm all right. And you put that cover on things and you assume that everything's going to be okay and can be okay. And then when you're alone with those thoughts and everything else, you feel stuck. To this day, I'll tell you now, there are venues that won't have me do stand-up there, that don't want me to do stand-up there because of everything I went through. I've been dropped from shows. I got dropped by my agent straight away when it all happened. An agent that was looking after some stuff. And, like cold, Phone call the next day, I got sacked. The next day, I think it's best we take a break for a bit. Oh, wow. As cold as that. I got a few threats on social media, direct messages into me saying, you better watch out if we see you out and about. And you got to bear in mind, I'm going, but I didn't say anything. Nobody has complained against me. I've not said anything to hurt anyone's feelings. There is no complaint against me. There is no words I've said that's caused anybody any upset. I've made some willy jokes. I've made some booby jokes. But I'm not a part of anything sinister or dark. That's just not me. And it's that I got stuck in. That injustice. But there are things that I have watched. There are things that I've seen. There are things that I've read. There are podcasts that I've listened to that have made me realize that injustice exists. It just is a part of life, being on the raw end of something. Black Lives Matter is happening because of injustice. Me Too movement is happening because of injustice, because there's been an unfair treatment over not just years, centuries, maybe even longer than that, of certain people from certain communities, of certain genders, of certain sexual orientation. That's why there is this wokeness coming around. People are waking up to the fact that actually things aren't fair, things aren't right. I got cancelled. I'm part of this cancel culture. That's not fair for me. But then I got associated with a group of people, men mainly, in privileged positions, who were abusing their positions. So it's all very misty and cloudy and unclear. But things are better now. Don't worry. Don't come rushing around. Don't panic. Tommy's not that negative right now, because I gave up the booze, because I started training. I got the natural endorphin feel-good factor. So this isn't me trying to preach about, oh yeah, new year, new you, go get you, go do you. That stuff winds me up, to be honest. And so many times when I was going through my stuff, I'd watch, I'm sorry to say, even like the minute silence for mental health, right? I saw that on the telly. It made me angry. It made me angry because I was like, I don't care about your minute silence for me or my mental health, or anybody else's mental health. That doesn't register with me. That doesn't do anything for me. That doesn't help me. It doesn't make me kind of go, oh, you're doing a minute silence for me? Great. Tell you what, I feel better about myself now. No, it don't work like that. I got annoyed because I felt like I was stuck. So I'm saying this message now because I don't want you to feel stuck. If you are feeling stuck, or if you are feeling just, I don't know, like you don't know what the options are. And that's horrible, man. That's really horrible. If you're stuck in a bad relationship, bad work, or you've got maybe other issues going on, everybody's story is different. And it might be 100 times worse than mine, or it might be something smaller in comparison, but it feels big to you. And that's all that kind of matters. So I realized I wanted to do this podcast. I'm doing this podcast, this daily chat about, food, family, mental health, well-being, sports, fitness, entertainment, all the things that I love. It's because I need a distraction, number one, a distraction away from the thing that's rumbling along, my issue there, and the thing I want to resolve this year, and I will resolve this year, or it will get resolved one way or another. They'll probably all agree that, yeah, Tommy, you're a wrong, and I hope not, because I believe in the truth, and I know the truth, because I've put myself on trial for all this time, and I've questioned myself loads, to the extent that I've doubted myself. But what's been great is my stand-up, doing stand-up, because that's raw. I'm there on stage, you make people laugh, they laugh back. It's a direct feedback. It's a bit like being on live radio again. You're chatting, you get the text, you get the tweets, you get the response. So that felt great. Doing this podcast feels great. Working out feels great. Spending more time with my family, being there for my kids in a way that I wasn't ever there before, feels great. So, why am I doing this particular podcast today? I wanted to kick off the new year with just a genuine chat to you, because I wanted to share what I'm going to do this year. Because rather than tell you what you should do, I think, I've always thought this, I think you already know. I think you already know what you've got to do to be the better version of you, or the best version of you, or to cut out the things that don't work for you. So for me, I need to resolve my issue with my former employer, which I will be doing in the next few months. I also need to push on this podcast, develop this a little bit more, do some technical stuff that I need to have in place for it. I'm launching my own chutneys, which I messaged about over the Christmas period. It's something that I just was working on. I've been making it for about 2-3 years. My wife loves it. We're now training all the time, so we're trying to eat clean. So we're eating like grilled chicken or vegetables and just putting a bit of this spicy chutney mayonnaise thing on the side. And it's delicious. I'm not just saying it. It really works. And and a lot of people are giving me a lot of really good feedback. So I've been testing it out. There's things I want to do. And there's some other working projects that I'm getting involved in this year, comedy-wise and otherwise, business-wise. So I'm going to go for it. And I've realized now that that's really all there is to it. Just take steps. Take steps towards what you want and where you think you want to be. And there's not anything you're going to do in a big leap and a bound. I've lost 3 stone in weight, but over 2 years. And I did that by cutting out the booze. And when I cut out the booze, I thought, right, screw it. If I'm not having booze, I'm going to have dessert. And I had desserts for like a week after my meals. Just to kind of bridge that gap between going cold turkey on the booze. I'm like, well, I've got something else. But I don't really like dessert. So I gave that desserts up after a week or so. And then just went back to my normal meals. And then slowly, you just break out that habit of alcohol. And you might not have a problem with alcohol. You might quite like a drink every now and then. You do you. That's absolutely fine. This is not me saying, hey, everyone should give up alcohol or give up meat or give up anything else. I think you got to work yourself out. And at 45 years old, I'm still working myself out. But it comes in stages. So after the first month, it was one thing, giving up alcohol, because I was still aware of it. I was still aware of the cupboard where my booze is. And then after 2, 3, 4 months, you're less aware. And obviously lockdown happened, which actually helped me out in that respect, because then we weren't mixing with people, so there was no temptation. But over this Christmas period, there's been a lot of drink around me. People have been pouring drinks, and nice drinks, like limited edition whiskies and top champagne and things like that. But I haven't had a drop, and I'm not really interested, because I finally feel quite good. I finally feel quite clear. I finally feel quite focused on what I want. And not even, I don't even know. Some people are like so clear, like, yeah, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to achieve that. I'm not that guy. I'm like, look, I'm just more up for giving things a go. And I haven't felt this way for a long time. So what am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying. I guess I'm saying is a New Year's resolution isn't a bad idea. Whatever changes you want to make, you should. And just start small. That's it. That's key. Don't kind of go, right, I'm going to give up this, and I'm going to change this. I'm going to lose this much weight by this. No. I'm listening to Will Smith's book at the moment, and he talks about making a brick wall. And he says his career is just a brick by brick. It's how he's done it. Because I just put a brick in place. Then I put another brick in place. And another brick. And slowly, there's a bit of a wall developing. And slowly after that, there's a bit more of a wall. And it's the same thing that goes on. And right now, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in, physically, ever. I'm talking about I'd say I'm stronger now than I was in my 20s. Yeah, there's a few more Gordian and back issues. Things are aching that a little bit more, but I feel better about myself now than I've ever done. And I feel more up for what I'm going for this year than I've ever felt. I can't even tell you sometimes the excitement and the surge of excitement in me for this year ahead. It's almost like I am on something. It feels like I'm on something because I get this buzz, and particularly when I'm working out as well, and I know what I'm going to go after, and I know what I'm going to do. It just feels so good. So please, if you have got a little something that you want to change, or a massive something you want to change, take a little step towards it. I guess that's what I'm saying, is that there is something in a New Year's resolution. So give it a go, and join me this year. Join me this year as I bumble my way and work things out along the way. And I might at the end of this year look back at this podcast or listen back to this and kind of go, oh, I was so wrong. You know, Chutney's flopped. You know, I didn't do well in my battle against my former employer. This podcast frizzled out after a few months. Maybe, or maybe not, because I'm up for it. And energy is everything. And being around the right people is everything. And now all the people around me are good people. They're energized people. I'm learning a lot from comedians that I talk to. There's some very positive comedians that I talk to very openly. You know who you are. There's very positive people in business that I talk to. You know who you are. The GoDaddy family have been great for me as well. Very positive. Again, they share the same values as me. So that's why they're going to be associated with the podcast for the next few months. And I want more of that. Just want to keep, I suppose, spreading the positivity. So join me. Let's hang out this year. Hopefully we'll make you laugh along the way. It won't always be heavy and intense like this one. But I want you to grow as well. So whatever it is you want to go after, please go after it, because results do come. And I'll say one last thing before I wrap this up, which is just that I spent the last 3 days in the temple, actually, because this was my first New Year's Eve that I spent in the temple. I've had cousins and friends and family and that who often go to the temple for New Year's Eve. They say it's a great experience. And I went this year because my wife's sister was having a religious event there. It was like a 3-day Akhand Path. So they read the Holy Book from start to finish over 3 days. They wanted to do it last year, but they couldn't because of lockdown. So they did it this year for my nephew, little baby Harry, who's now 2. But I was there, and I suppose you spend a lot of time, you know, reflecting, thinking, chilling out. And I know it sounds all quite hardcore religious or spiritual. I am not that person. So I feel almost like a fraud saying it. I'm very much a fickle, superficial Netflix, chocolate finishing kind of guy. But what I'll say is, what I've realized is that if you're going through some kind of level of pain right now, whatever it is, I promise you there is something to gain at the end. I don't know what it is, but there is something. So just hang in there. You haven't even got to do anything. If you're feeling real low, you don't have to do anything. Just ride that low. Just wait. I know that's kind of crap advice because it doesn't say anything. But Cilla Black said this to me when I used to work with Cilla from Blind Date. Cilla gave me loads of wisdom about dealing with business and life and people. And she goes, you got to ride the lows as well as you ride the highs, Tommy. She goes, you got to go with the lows like you go with the highs. So when things are great, of course you're going to go with them. When things are not, and you're feeling like crap for whatever reason, maybe it's other people's fault, maybe it's your own fault, maybe you hate yourself for something, maybe you hate others for something. I don't know, whatever it could be, okay? Because situations change so much and vary so much. Ride the lows. It's okay. Even if those lows, and I'm saying this from experience, last for months, years. I'm talking about every morning I woke up, brushed my teeth, thinking about the same thing, going to bed, thinking about the same thing, in the middle of the night, waking up, thinking that maybe for a split second it was a dream and it didn't actually happen to me and everything was fine. Losing all my income, boom, overnight, having nothing coming in for months, years. Nothing, zero. Very different living financial situation for me, big mortgage to pay. Other problems as well. I have other properties, and at the same time, I had problems with tenants in other properties. So I had double, triple mortgages to pay and no income. Was borrowing from my dad when you're over 40 years old to borrow money from your dad because you've hit this low. It's humbling. It made me realize how much my parents love me. My mum quit her job to sit in my house and pray. You know, it was the lowest that I've ever been in my life. But I think, I hope we've popped out the other end. And there's no secret to popping out the other end of it, other than you just hang in there. So please, whatever you're going through, I swear to you, you're not on your own with it. Somebody else is feeling, in fact, many other people including upbeat Tommy Sandu, are feeling the same way. So hang in there. Listen to this podcast, listen to other podcasts. Go find voices that motivate you, inspire you. Go type in the things that you're trying to deal with, and I'm sure there's someone talking about it. And good luck with it. And keep me posted with it. You can message me via the Tommy Sandu podcast on Instagram, on our Facebook page, on Twitter. You can direct message. It'll come straight to me. And it'd be great to hear what it is that you're facing. And just know that you're not alone with it. And good luck for 2022. If you're just in a great, positive, happy place and things are finally going well for you, maybe you've been through things for a few years or months or whatever, weeks. And now you just come out and you're getting yourself together and you feel positive and you feel energized, then wicked. Ride that, enjoy that, smash it, and let's make this a year to remember. So here's to 2022. Thanks for being a part of the show. 22, as I've said before, in Hindi, Punjabi and in Urdu, I think, yeah, in all three, is bhai. The number is pronounced bhai. The dialect varies and the accent varies according to how you say it, bhai. But 22 is bhai. So I'm making this the year of the brother. And that's not me excluding my sisters from this. What I'm saying is, look out for your bro. Look out for your bhai in 22. Look out for the person that's not quite acting like themselves. Or when you look in their eyes, you see something else going on. Question it. Take a moment out and just go, what's going on? You sure? And I've said that a lot more to people in the last few months. I go, you cool? Tell me straight. Tell me straight if you're cool. And they'll go, no, it's fine. And you'll just know by their body language or whatever. And then you check on them again. But do that. Check on your bhai for 22. And let's have a great year. And don't forget to keep laughing and keep smiling and keep taking a piss out of yourselves and each other, because that's what makes the world go round as well. But love each other, respect each other, give each other the space to be whoever you want to be, they want to be, others that they want to be themselves. People just want recognition, respect and love. Recognize them, respect them, love them, let them be their way. You be your way, and we'll have a great year. Here's to 2022. Thanks for listening and watching the Tommy Sandu podcast.